Well, reviewing your comments and emails, it looks to me like, there's been a pretty serious problem with the work that and Shul had done, and you haven't been upfront with me about what's going on, but it looks like there's a complete rebuild of the site that's happening, which is, I don't even know what to say at this point. But if that's what's happening, I'm going to at least give you some insight as to what's important about the rollout because you're going to now do it in phases, which is really, I think, the way it should have been done from the beginning. But I'm going to talk about what's important to me and the way it should be rolled out, uh, so that I can try to eliminate the damage, alleviate the damage that's been done to my reputation from everything I've said about the time frame of this. But first thing I'll talk about is Banuba over here. I see you've been working on Banuba, but Banuba has nothing to do with us. They're one of the worst companies that I dealt with of everybody, and there's not a chance I'm using Banuba. So Banuba is not a part of our infrastructure. What I'm expecting, what VJ had mentioned, was that you guys were, going to focus on getting the platform to the contract specs uh, before adding anything additional. And so to me, that was the basically the core infrastructure of, it's set up with Amazon AWS. We have a one-time authorization where we verify that the users have a US based cell phone and we give them access to the platform. And then we were also going to use Trust Swiftly, but now we've switched that to Stripe. So if they don't have a US based cell phone, they can connect a Stripe account. If they don't have a Stripe account, they'll be required to link a bank account and get a Stripe account. That way, we can build a secure community with identity protection. The most important thing to me is that we create a way for people to create full identity protection here, because one of the primary services that we have is identity protected counseling, which is something that you actually really can't get anywhere here in the US anyway. So that is a unique feature and something that makes us special, and I think is going to be a high demanded service, certainly with the identity community. Um, so I think it's very important that we provide a way for people to be able to onboard with identity protection, but we also need security to ensure that these people are real identities so that we can make sure that there's no fraud or spams or scamming happening. So that's why I created that process. That's very important. Uh, if we're going to roll out in phases, the most important thing to me is that we can share those stories. Okay, like my sister, for her to share her stories about her daughter's death. For people who recovered from addiction, if I can have the story sharing that's out there on the, so that we can share stories, then I can start to connect with certain people to get stories put on the platform because we're going to need a few trauma survivors, etc., to share their deep inner stories to make it so people really get it when we launch on the App Store and on Google Play, for example. Users have to be able to have a profile, obviously, to log in, and then they have to be able to share the story onto, the wall. The next thing would be counseling. The healers. Okay, so one, we can have people sharing their story, but then I also want people who have healed from their past and have something to offer others. I want them to be able to offer their services. So the healers. And that right there would be like what I would consider like I need before I can really start to promote. You guys, if you only post the stories, whatever gets posted first, but I can't start to promote to anybody and start to show to people what I'm doing and get people on board until I have those two things. Uh, Once we have the ability to share stories and the counselor healers up, then the next thing I think would be focused on groups after that. And then after groups was completed and we get that all functioning and everything is working good, then I would say the mood tracker would be next. And then after the mood tracker, events, events, I would say we have the longest time. I have to get people on the platform and everything anyway. And after I do that, I am going to hire some real counselors to host some events and everything, but we've got a while for that, I think. So that's what I would suggest in the rollout. The additional features that I added, after the contract point was ChatGPT, OpenAI, also HeyGen, so that as long as the story sharing, so with story sharing, we have video, audio, and text. But I'd also like to be able to add people for the text to be able to add the HeyGen AI avatar narration. Um, and the Heijen also operates as our AI counselor. So on the healer section, there will be an AI counselor from Heijen. And then the 11 Labs is for voice modulation, and I think that's very important even in the beginning. If we don't launch with this stuff and we just do this at first, that's fine, because to me, again, the most important thing is that people can log on and get identity protected counseling, and so we can do that just with GetStream.io. I mean, if people don't have to show their face at all, they can just make a phone call. So as long as they're making a phone call but their account is totally identity protected, we don't know who they are, and they can reach out to a counselor and they can get counseling without exposing their identity. That's the threshold that we want to meet. So we have that service for people, because I think that alone is what sells the service. It's not really going to be the avatars. The avatars just make it a little funner, a little cooler, or whatever. But uh, and for the avatars, Deep AR is the company that we were going to use for the. I have this little dog video here. Uh, the this is from Deep AR, and just okay, give me okay. I have a company that make this stuff. I'm not sure I'm getting maybe 5 different options just to get started. But Deep AR would be so, if we could add these things that, in between, and this can be additional money, I don't care. But the sooner if you can integrate that in while you're building it, great. If you wait till the end, whatever, I don't care. But just to clarify, this is everything that I understand to be the tech stack and what we're using. And that would be the way I would like to see the different sections of the platform rolled out, so that I can coordinate my end accordingly. And that's it. So thank you very much. And what's important is that this gets done one way or another. So regardless of wherever we are, um, as long as this moves forward. So thank you very much and have a good day.